Now at 5, election precinct workers in Oklahoma are getting a boost in pay. We'll tell you why.
The election is less than 100 days away. I'm Nicole Skanga in Washington with the latest from the campaign trail. Former President Trump's new attack and how Vice President Harris is responding.
And a Southeast Kansas nonprofit receives a hefty grant to help tackle food insecurity.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Election officials in Oklahoma can expect to see a higher pay ahead of the November general election. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Tanya Bach. A bill passed in 2023 goes into effect this year, doubling the pay precinct officials receive in a workday. Oklahoma state law requires each precinct to have at least 3 officials, an inspector, a judge, and a clerk. State election board officials say they hope the pay increase not only shows poll workers how important they are, but continue to support recruitment and retention efforts.
I've had several of my poll workers say that the increase in pay is definitely keeping them around. But I've had more people volunteer to be a poll worker, so I do think it'll help with recruiting.
No experience is required to be a precinct official, but you must work in the county you are registered to vote in. Training is mandatory and will be provided. The Healthy Bourbon County Action Team received a grant of $55,000 to tackle food insecurity in Bourbon County. The grant will be given each year for 3 years and helps the organization give out food to the community. They've helped 400 people in need since 2022 and depend heavily on grants to feed those in need.
Our goal here at the Healthy Bourbon County Action Team is to help those that are in need, to help people that are hungry and thirsty, and just one person at a time.
The organization is hosting a food summit within the next year where residents of Bourbon County can voice their needs. Even though the official start to Marian Days isn't until Thursday, it's already starting to look like a small city is growing inside of Carthage, Missouri. Every year, the annual Catholic Vietnamese celebration brings in tens of thousands of visitors to the Maple Leaf City. Yes, the Carthage Chamber president says bring a big boost to the local economy.
Have an influx of 100,000 people that come to your community. They're shopping here, they're eating here, they're getting their gas. It is a big economic impact to our community. We welcome them, we want them to feel welcome, and they do really well at patronizing our businesses.
Thousands of the visitors choose to camp. Even more stay in local hotels and Airbnbs. Tomorrow on KOAM News at 6, we meet a Carthage woman who opens her home to the cultural experience every year. Meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney joins us now with a first look at weather.
Today was a pretty hot day. Temperatures still about 95 out in Joplin, but it feels like 103. This is just a start to a long stretch of really hot days stretching all the way through Thursday. We've got excessive heat warnings for our area all the way through Wednesday evening. Winds are gusting up to about 25 miles per hour as well throughout tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Temperatures across the region pretty warm. Monette not so bad, 93, but as we get off to these western counties, 99 in Parsons and Neodesha, 101 in Independence, and 100 in Yates Center and Sedan, so it's pretty hot out there, and this is just the first day. Tomorrow and Wednesday are going to be our hottest days on the forecast. Like I said, winds are gusting up to about 20 miles per hour, which may help a little bit with the heat, but we do have those heat advisories and excessive heat warnings stretching through Thursday. We'll talk about it right after this.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Election day is now just 99 days away, and Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign says it raised a record $200 million in the week after President Biden stepped aside from the race. Former President Donald Trump is now sharpening his attacks against the presumptive Democratic nominee. Nicole Skanga reports from Washington.
With just about 3 months to Election Day, both Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump hit the campaign trail over the weekend.
We are going to win.
You're going to be crushed if you don't elect me.
It comes as a new poll shows that Harris has a higher favorability among voters than Trump, barely a week after she entered the race. The Harris campaign says it brought in $200 million in the first week of her candidacy. That's a new record. They're also touting signing up more than 170,000 new volunteers.
We are seeing on the ground a lot of enthusiasm and excitement.
Trump stepped up his attacks on Harris.
I'm running against a low IQ individual.
Kamala Harris's deadly destruction of America's borders is completely and totally disqualifying for her to be president.
Harris had this response.
Donald Trump has been resorting to some wild lies about my record, and some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
Trump also stirred up some back and forth with this unusual plea to Christian conservatives Saturday.
Christians, get out and vote just this time. You won't have to do it anymore. 4 more years, you know what? It'll be fixed. It'll be fine. You won't have to vote anymore.
Republicans scrambled to explain.
I think he's obviously making a joke about how bad things have been under Joe Biden.
But the Harris campaign said Trump was signaling an end to democracy. Nicole Skanga, CBS News, Washington.
Well, Harris is expected to make a decision about her running mate in the next 6 to 7 days. In Venezuela, a disputed election has major implications for the U.S. Authoritarian President Nicolas Maduro is claiming victory in yesterday's presidential election, but his opponent says he won. Fighting broke out near some polling stations yesterday. On Maduro's watch, Venezuela's economy imploded. And though it has the world's largest oil reserves, nearly 70% of people there live in poverty. Still ahead, a sandwich warning.
A recall of deli meat due to a listeria outbreak. I'm Christian Benavides with the signs and symptoms to look out for.
But first in Health Watch, a first-of-its-kind colon cancer blood test. Why doctors expect it to be a game changer. Topping today's Health Watch, the FDA has approved a first-of-its-kind blood test for colon cancer. The Shield test is approved for screening in adults 45 and older who have an average risk of colon cancer. It looks for DNA fragments from tumor cells and precancerous growths with an 83% accuracy rate in clinical trials. According to the American Cancer Society, 53,000 people will die of colorectal cancer this year, and less than 60% follow screening guidelines.
Any step that we can do to make an early diagnosis to bring more people to screening for colon cancer is a step in the right direction.
Doctors warn this non-invasive test is not a replacement for colonoscopies and cannot detect polyps. Any positive test would then require a colonoscopy. Well, July is Fibroids Awareness Month, a condition that affects a majority of U.S. women of reproductive age. Fibroids are tumors that grow in the wall of the uterus. While most are non-cancerous and some are even asymptomatic, those who suffer with fibroids can experience pain, prolonged heavy menstrual cycles, and even anemia. Experts say women should learn to recognize when something may be wrong.
If you can't go to work, if you can't go out with your friends, if you're nervous about too much bleeding when you go out, those can be red flags that something else is going on, and you should go to your doctor and get evaluated for fibroids.
Experts say it's important women have informed conversations with their doctors that includes their life goals. Well, it could be a new stage in the fight against Alzheimer's. A new study says a combination of 2 simple blood tests can catch 90% of early dementia cases. Nearly 7 million people in the U.S. and more than 32 million people worldwide suffer Alzheimer's. Well, some Boar's Head brand deli meats are under recall as federal health officials investigate an outbreak of listeria. Listeria is the 3rd leading cause of death from food poisoning in the United States. That's according to the CDC. Christian Benavides has more on the signs and the symptoms of infection.
The USDA has announced a recall of some boar's head liverwurst and other deli meats because the products may be contaminated with listeria. A tainted sample of the liverwurst was found at a Maryland store during their investigation into the outbreak, and the company is recalling other deli meats made the same day in June as the tainted sample. So far, nearly 36 people in 13 states have been sickened in the listeria outbreak, and 2 people have died.
The symptoms of listeria are similar to food poisoning. Persons most at risk are older persons, people who are frail, the immune compromised, and persons who are pregnant, because this infection can sometimes precipitate a miscarriage or get into the baby.
Symptoms usually start 1 to 4 weeks after eating contaminated food, but can start as early as the same day or as late as 10 weeks after, according to the CDC, and can include fever, muscle aches, and tiredness.
It can take a long time before you become ill, and if it contaminates food and you put it in the refrigerator, this listeria bug can multiply even at refrigerator temperatures.
Most listeria infections are treated with antibiotics. The CDC recommends in general anyone at higher risk for the illness avoid meats sliced at the deli, or those meats should be heated up to 165 degrees or steaming hot before eating. The bacteria can also hide in fruits and vegetables, so it's important to wash those thoroughly. Cristian Benavides, CBS News.
The CDC estimates about 1,600 people get sick from listeria each year and about 260 die. That's a look at today's health news. A little later, Deadpool and Wolverine make a killing at the box office. We've got the numbers.
And temperatures continue to soar over the next couple days. We'll talk about it right after the break. It was a pretty hot day today, and it's just the start of it. We're going to have a heat wave over our area for the next several days. Taking a look outside Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. It's sunny out there. We do have a few clouds. Had a few showers in our northern counties, but overall, it was a pretty hot, humid day today. Like I said, we did have a few showers in those northern counties passing through Nevada, but mostly stayed clear. Clouds are moving out of here, and we're going to have a clear night ahead. We do have excessive heat warnings for nearly all of our counties. That's the hot pink over there, and that's due to heat index values getting up to 112 in most of those counties. And then in far southwestern Missouri, we've got a few heat advisories for those counties, and that's just for heat index only getting up to about 108. So still going to be hot out there, just slightly better than 112 heat indices. We move into the week. That continues Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, with an alert day set for Tuesday and Wednesday being the hottest days in this week. Tuesday high for the heat index is going to get up to possibly 105 in Joplin, 107 in Pittsburgh, 108 in Independence, possibly up to 110 in especially those western counties. Then the actual temperature going to get up to, let's see, upper 90s, 99 in Joplin, and this is tomorrow, 100 in Welsh, Veneta, 101 in Nowata, Independence, and Sedan. So a lot of counties in the upper 90s and quite a few in the triple digits. Then we've got those high humidity values above 50%. If it's just above 40%, we've got high index values. So above 50% humidity, it's going to be pretty hot, pretty muggy tomorrow. Temperature out in Joplin getting up to 99, but as we just saw in most of our other counties, getting up to upper 90s and even triple digits, low hundreds. It's going to be pretty hot and muggy. Heat index values could get up to 112 in those central and western counties. Winds are going to be gusting up to about 25, 30 miles per hour, which is a good thing. It might help with the heat, but it's best to just stay indoors or stay hydrated. Try not to spend too long outdoors. Prolonged exposure to heat can cause heat-related illnesses, heat stroke, heat exhaustion, not good. So tomorrow and Wednesday, the hottest days with the highest temperatures and highest heat index values. That's why we do have that alert day set. We've got that heat wave because a nice ridge forming over our area, and it's moving pretty slow. We do have an isolated shower chance moving in early Tuesday afternoon, pretty low chance, 10-15%. But due to surface heating, we've got those pop-up thunderstorms that we see during the summertime on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We also have, moving into Wednesday afternoon, a slight trough. It's moving into the area, may affect us either Wednesday night, or into Thursday. So we're going to keep an eye on that. But until then, mostly just focus on the heat. So like I said, alert day set for Tuesday and Wednesday. High temperature on Tuesday, 99. High temperature on Wednesday, 100. With the heat index values both Tuesday and Wednesday getting up to 112, 113 in some areas. Cools off a little bit on Thursday, but it's still going to be pretty hot. 98 for our high. And our low temperature is in the upper 70s, even 80s. So we don't get a lot of overnight relief from the heat.
Yeah, that's pretty painful, like across the board, day and night.
It's going to be pretty rough, but we do have a nice stretch after that of mid 90s, you know, not as humid, so a little bit better.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, coming up, finally cashing in those hard-earned savings, why experts say it's harder for some to spend it than others. Topping today's Consumer Watch, Marvel's Deadpool and Wolverine shot to the top of the weekend box office, earning $205 million domestically. That's the biggest open of the year so far and the 8th highest film opening ever. Twisters snagged the second spot with more than $35 million. Despicable Me 4 took in more than $14 million to come in third. According to a recent Bankrate survey, just 41% of Americans are comfortable with the amount of emergency savings they currently have. While most people struggle to save, others have an issue with finally using the money that they've socked away. Carter Evans spoke to one expert who says oversaving can lead to other stresses.
We have fun. Yes.
Donna Cerna loves to spend time with her family, but what the 86-year-old retiree has a problem spending is the money she's diligently saved. Nina's her daughter-in-law.
She'll see a gorgeous blouse, and we'll look at it, and it'll be $200. Oh, no way, no way.
Depriving herself of things she can afford because of the price.
So it's not going to break the bank?
Absolutely not. But I can't bring myself to buy it.
Isn't that a good thing, though, to be thrifty?
Yeah, thrifty's good. Well, but if we define ourselves by what we are not going to do, then your skills to be able to spend money have totally deteriorated.
Ramit Sethi wrote the book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. On his podcast, he often talks with people who are oversaving out of fear.
We have this myth that if I just had $10,000 more dollars or $50,000 more dollars, then finally I would feel good about money. And I'm here to tell you that's not true.
Cerna says her grandmother taught her to pinch pennies.
Do you think you have enough saved now to take care of yourselves for the rest of your life?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Are you still saving?
Yes.
I told my parents, we don't want a cent from you. You brought us into this world. You taught us everything. Now it's your turn.
Sethi says anyone can learn to make saving and spending less stressful by sticking to a budget with a worry-free number.
It could be $5, could be $50. So if I see something I like for $50, I'm going to get it and I'm going to feel great.
Donna Cerna is hoping to plan a vacation for her entire family.
Get the most comfortable and the nicest thing. Let's do what we want to do.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, God, it's my daughter again.
Carter Evans, CBS News, Culver City, California.
Well, today is National Chicken Wing Day. Several restaurant chains are offering deals including Buffalo Wild Wings, Wingstop, and Hooters. It's also National Lasagna Day. How about that? Carrabba's Italian Grill is donating 10% of its lasagna sales to charity. Final check of the forecast is next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, children with a family history of substance abuse are more likely to become addicted themselves. And Eye on America takes us to a summer camp that's helping kids break the cycle. And then on KOAM News at 6, how election officials in Oklahoma look to draw new workers with better pay. Plus, prosecutors charge a Newton County deputy with domestic assault. And the Cardinals and Royals both make changes to their roster ahead of tomorrow's MLB trade deadline. Well, here's a good reminder never to leave your doors unlocked. An adult black bear and its cub trashed a car in Connecticut after getting stuck inside. State Environmental Conservation Police opened one of the doors. The two bears ran off into the woods where a third bear was waiting. Now the car's interior, well, it wasn't so fortunate.
Well, I wonder if insurance covers that.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope so.
Well, quick recap on the weather. We've got alert day set for tomorrow and Wednesday due to the extreme and dangerous heat. Temperatures in the upper 90s, even triple digits, and heat index values getting up to a max of 115 by the end of the week.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us. We'll be right back here for KOAM News at 6, and we'll see you then. Have a great evening and an even better tomorrow.